My name is Aiesha Cosmos, and I'm a Mayan astrologer and Toltec ceremonial guide. 24 years ago, I arrived in Tulum in the Riviera Maya because I had the sacred calling to come here to unfold my work with the Mayan calendar. So at this time, I was 24 years old and I had spent the previous 4 years in Vancouver, Canada, studying the Mayan calendar in the ancestral and contemporary versions, as well as the Toltec teachings of called by the power of the jungle and the amazing spirits of the animals here. My own particular alignment is with the tarantulas, the iguanas, and the amazing seed of the ceiba tree. So Tulum is a sacred temple outer space that is this amazing cauldron of consciousness nestled between the jungle and the edge of the infinite sea. This is a land of moon and sunrise, of starlight and shooting stars and beautiful pelicans and flamingos flying overhead. I felt so strongly that I needed to learn to offer this to people and to offer this ancestral wisdom, which in such an uncanny way I received while living in Canada. And it was even given to me by Canadians. So I was so blown away when it was a Canadian person, a total stranger at a festival in Canada, which snuck from behind a tree and told me, hey, with what you do, you should move to Tulum. And I was completely taken aback because when I had been to Tulum when I was 11 years old, Tulum was all just crabs and tarantulas and boas, and so I didn't really know what he was talking about. I thought he just wanted me to move to the jungle, and I didn't know that Tulum had already developed into this beautiful, quaint little palapita place with the sandy rooms with no electricity and the candles with just the moonlight and the ocean. And so 3 months after this total stranger asked me to move to Tulum to develop my work with the Mayan calendar and the Toltec wisdom, I listened. And I ended up walking through the streets in Vancouver in the rain with the wind, feeling completely cold and totally done with the rain and the beautiful winters of BC. And so I saw a sign on the side of the road that said Puerto Vallarta, $300. And exactly, I had $300 in my pocket. And so I just walked into the travel agency and I just bought that ticket. And then 2 weeks later, I left. My mother, my sisters, all my friends, all the people that I had been living with in Canada for years and years and years. And I just came all on my own to Mexico. I arrived in Puerto Vallarta, which was so magical, with zero money, and I approached a woman that got out of the plane at the same time as me, and she was getting ready to change her Canadian dollars into pesos, and I was like, hey, you got off the same plane as me. I don't have any money. I need to get to the bus station and I need to call my dad. But I have my Mayan astrology sign silver pendant because at that time I was a jeweler. And so with this, she instantly said, hey, my Mayan sign is the star. And I was like, oh my God, the star is my guide. And she's like, let me see your pendants. And so I showed her my pendants and I had the star right there. And she's a little bit embarrassed. She only had $40 instead of the $45 that they were worth. And I said it was no problem, $40 would be just fine. And so she bought her pendant from me, and with that amount of money, I was able to get to the bus station. I was able to call my father and to get him to buy me a bus ticket to Mexico City. And so then I made it to Mexico City. And from there, friends in Mexico City invited me to go to Oaxaca, to a place near Mazunte, to go to a Mayan calendar campsite that they were going to be doing this Mayan calendar retreat for 3 weeks on the beach. And it was the most crazy initiation into the Mexican alternative spiritual community. I had a really good time. And from there, we ended up hitchhiking to Palenque. And there, I met these beautiful Canadian people and Mexican people that I had also connected with their family in Canada. And everything just kept lining up in the most magical, unexpected ways. And so this beautiful Mexican man, whose daughter I had met in Canada, Lalo, he told me, hey, when you get to Tulum, you should go to Zamas. They will really like your jewelry and you'll be able to work there. And so I made it then to Merida. And in Mexico City, an ex-partner told me that his best friend's mother had a place in Tulum called Playa Escanan, and her name is Rosa Lili, and forever I will be so grateful to her, because he said, if you tell her you're my friend, she will give you a bed and you'll have a place to stay. And so that was the first place I showed up to once I managed to make it to Tulum. And Rosa Lili was a dream. She was so generous, so kind. She gave me a beautiful bed with my mosquito net. Tulum was so unbelievably beautiful. You could see the flamingos flying overhead in the sunrise and sunset. The pelicans were everywhere. All the blue crabs would be crossing the road every evening in their migrations to the sea. I got to live on a tent and I got to connect with the ceiba tree. I got to have my very first lucid dreaming, super powerful experience once I was already renting a little hut from Rosa Lili. And in that lucid dream, I became a Melipona bee and I flew over the ocean and I connected with the sunrise and the water, and it was such a powerful sunrise. And then all of a sudden when I woke up in my bed, I could hear the wind outside, and I just wrapped myself in my blanket and I went to the beach, and I was able to see it was the exact same sunrise I had just been witnessing in my lucid dreaming. And so later, my friend Mauricio, who is an amazing puppeteer and who has collected so many of the amazing ancient wisdom stories of the Maya lineages and the amazing gods and goddesses and all the sacred mythology of the Maya, he told me when I told him of this dream many years later that that dream is totally connected with the Temple of Tulum, because the Temple of Tulum has the descending god, and the descending god is actually the Melipona bee god, and that at the Temple of Tulum, they would put the sacred offering of Melipona honey for the sunrise to receive the rays of the new sun into the peninsula, which the first place is Isla Mujeres in the Temple of Ixchel, but then there is also the Temple of Tulum, which is the second place in the whole country that receives the sunrise. And so with all these sacred experiences and all this amazing magic bringing me to Tulum, which was all divinely catalyzed by an amazing dream that I had at the beginning of my Maya calendar journey when I was 21 years old in Canada, where my animal spirits came as the spider and the spider web and the lizard and the sacred cultivation of the energy and power in the womb and the ovaries and its connection to water, as well as the seed of the ceiba tree, which is not just one of the powerful pillars of nature in this jungle, but it also has the potential to transcend and transmute itself into the axis of the world, with the 9 roots of the 9 layers of the underworld, where the trickster gods and the ancient spirits and all the ancestors dwell, as well as its amazing sacred trunk with all its spikes and all this powerful girth. And then it grows into the 13 branches of the divine celestial realms that connect with all of the stars and all of the amazing dreams and the visionary, idealistic ways in which we may grow and bloom the fruits of our labor and the reaching of our divine potential. So in my own astrology, in the ancient wisdom, I am the magnetic seed. So I am the triple seed of the ceiba tree. And that's why the nature of the Mayan Riviera called me here for me to plant my seed here and begin to grow my purpose and begin to grow my work. And so the calling that I have with this jungle, which has come to me during thunderstorms on the ocean, because I got to live for 10 years on the beach with no electricity, no running water, just the stars and the sunrise and the sunset and the full moon, and the way that the sand would reflect the light of the moon in the middle of the night. And we could go swimming and boogie boarding, and we did all of our amazing ceremonies and our sacred fire and amazing music, and just this communing with the wind, communing with the dawn, communing with the thunderstorms. I got to see thunderstorms of pink lightning coming down into the water and just coming down in columns of lightning straight into the sea, and the beginnings of the hurricanes as they would come close to cleanse the land and purify and electrify and connect with the power of transmutation. And so the Mayan calendar is all connected with all these symbolisms, with the amazing totems of the jungle, with the iguana, with the bat. Here the cenote caves are full of bats. We have bats everywhere. We have the tarantula connected to cat, the ceiba tree seed, and the amazing power of the weaving of the web of life that is not just the relationships we have with each other, but the relationships of the Maya jungle, or Imish, the crocodile, which is also the mangrove, which is a sacred womb space where all the animals go to lay their eggs and put the little baby fish and all the baby crocodiles and the baby boas and all of the baby coatis and all of these amazing creatures that live on this land that deserve to be respected and protected and connected with, not just for their valuable nature, ecosystem balance, reciprocity, protection of just needing to have overpasses for animal crossings on the roads and on the highway, to protect the jaguar, to protect the all the jaguarundis, all the beautiful, amazing animals that live here. It is also their sacred spirit. It is also the amazing consciousness that they possess, the amazing insight and wisdom that they give to us, and the way that it is all lining up with the amazing power of the Mayan calendar. On a mission, we can be sure that Tulum will expand our mission bigger than our wildest dreams. And so we must always be careful to take care of what we bring here and what are the seeds that we plant. How is our attention being focused? Where are we collaborating and co-creating? This realm, with its mangroves and its crocodiles and the boas, requires for custodianship and for amazing responsibility. This is a land that requires to respect and connect with the ancient wisdom and culture of the Maya, not just in their ancestral wisdom ways, but also in its contemporary expressions. Their arts and crafts, their villages, their philosophies, their language, the amazing midwives and the beautiful herbalists, the way that they connect with their communities, with the children, with the beautiful babies. So Tulum is a sacred place that opens its arms, its body, its essence, its spirit to all of us, to come, to connect, to grow, to expand. And it is so important for us to step into this land with integrity, with grace, with purpose, and with an absolute feeling of alignment and connection with the community here and the people that have been the custodians of this space for a long, long time. Since I have been here, I have been able to witness the way that the growth and transformation of this land has changed so many lives, especially my own. From living here, I have been able to develop my very own way of working with the Maya calendar. I have just finished writing my very own book to be able to transmit this amazing ancestral wisdom that doesn't just come from the calendar itself, but from the countless nights I slept on the beach. I lived on the beach for 10 years with no electricity, no running water, pulling the water out of the well, cooking by candlelight, having the capacity to wake up at 5 a.m. and connect with the starlight right before the dawn. This land is a land of power. This land is a land of destiny. This is a beacon of consciousness for the world. And it requires for those of us who are here to step into true co-creation and collaboration with a real vision of what is it that we are planting here and that we are leaving behind for generations to come. It is so important for us to weave together the ancient and the modern into the future and the visionary gift that we're giving to the next generations. And for that, it is so wonderful for us to share not just the Toltec wisdom, the Maya wisdom, the land herbology, the medicine of the animals and their consciousness, and the way that we can have the most beautiful encounters with the sopilote, which is the vulture, or with the bat from the caves of the cenotes, to the crocodiles of the mangroves, to the amazing spirit of the wind, and the amazing temples and the ancestral stones and the beautiful underground rivers of the aquifer, and how we must come into alignment with the land and connection with our residue, the solid waste, the sewage, all the amazing things that are so important for humanity to now get under responsible control and absolute, complete management that allows for this beautiful jungle to sustain itself, for the amazing spot to remain a pristine tourist attraction for generations to come, where people come not just for superficial reasons so that they can take a beautiful photo, or because they're gonna have an amazing dinner at a delicious restaurant, or because a beautiful hotel is right at the perfect spot that just is set up to be absolutely a dream for a photo shoot, but because this is a land that has the potential to awaken you to your sacred calling, to get you so tuned in to what spirit is asking of you and how you can step into this new consciousness of the world, this new earth that we are being called to weave together, the new systems, the new developments, the new ways to create education, to create urban gardens, to create the new visionary insight of how this ancestral wisdom moves into our life as a sacred science of consciousness, and how that can inspire our hearts and our inner child's true dreaming divine power, so that we can break the molds of social conditioning and step into the amazing grace of allowing our divine imagination to truly weave heaven on earth. So, I am so happy to share this space with you. This can be done through sacred tours of the amazing temples. It can be done through sacred ceremonies, sober ceremonies in the Maya jungle, through sacred explorations of its pristine beaches, and through amazing readings and sacred connection with your own purification processes. So, in this, you can connect with me through Instagram as Aiesha Cosmos, or through my website, aieshacosmos.com, and we can weave together our divine destinies.